fuck the real thing. All of the windshield, for fuck's sake. Oh, fuck. What the fuck did I say? That didn't sound for shit, did it? And here, under the hood, we've stored something that'll really come in handy if it doesn't fall out and break my leg. Ah! What we're doing is we're building a fucking industrial film. Trying to give these guys everything they can get to me. And that's it. Fuck it. I don't even know what the fuck I'm saying. We suppose we open... Got to do it again, right now. Oh, fuck. 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 Oh, fuck. Shit. Tony, do me a favor, will you please? Will you? Will you do me a kindness? Leave. Yeah.
I think I'm going to be walking in and out if you're going to fuck up and I got to come back.
I don't make any difference to me at this juncture. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Tony. Don't slam the fucking door. No more. Listen, I've got to give a clue here now. I don't want any more bullshit anytime during the day from anyone. That includes me. It's going to be very hot. It's going to be very uncomfortable for everybody. Want anybody yelling. We get anybody yelling around here anymore today, and then the shit is going to hit the fan. And they fit the diverse needs of a very big fern, and they fit the needs of a very diverse buyer segment. Why can't I remember? I wrote this stuff. Why can't I remember it? Why don't I say it fucking right? What does the goddamn line say, Tony? What is the goddamn line? I don't give a shit what the line is. I fucked up the word rear. I can't even read the fucking VO straight. What the fuck was that? We got flies all over the fucking place. Son of a bitch. Get out of here, you fucking flies. There's a fly over the headlight, Tony. We got flies coming for us. Fuck. Fuck out of here, you flies. We got 3 flies, 5 flies. And if you will, make sure, if you will, we don't have that fly on the left side, on the passenger side, because we don't have that in frame, but make sure we don't have any flies here. And we don't have any flies. Here we go. Get out of here, you goddamn jackass. I gotta read it again because my mind is just a piece of shit this morning. God, I can't fucking make my mind work. Tony, give me a towel for just a minute, please. That... I'm blinded by that fucking hot light. Goddamn son of a bitch! What do you mean, I'm gonna fall off the fucking thing? Fuck. Just keep running. Bullshit. I'm gonna slate this fucker. All right, I haven't got time to mark this motherfucker. Here we go again. We can't hear anybody. Nobody can talk to anybody.
Still speeding.
Well, turn the fucking thing off, you dumbass. And I'd like to kick your fucking head in. Meet innovation. Money. Fuck. Not even funny anymore. Son of a bitch! Jesus Christ. Fuck! Shit. Son of a bitch. Jesus Christ. Fuck. Shit. Son of a bitch. Jesus Christ. Oh, fuck. Shit. Son of a bitch. Jesus Christ. Fuck off! What the hell's the line? Shit! What the fuck is it? Can't remember the goddamn line. The accoutrement that you will need. Accoutrement? What is that shit? I don't know, shit. It's just all gone. I get so goddamn diuretic when I sit here, and my mouth just never stops. For 1989, each individual storage compartment has this controlled light that you can put up your fern if you want to. How's that? What shot is it? Oh, shit. What did I do? Did I walk through it? It's going to be very helpful in keeping you from falling down, you big dumb son of a bitch. You're disturbing what's left of my brain. Yeah, but my mind is such shit. To say nothing of the flies in my head. Got a fly in my mouth and every fucking other thing happens. If I knew what the rest of the line was, then I would be in good shape. It's amazing how I just babble. Uh-oh. I guess my mind is going again.
My body is dismembered from my mind.
There's no words there. There's no words on it.
Fuck it.
We'll do it live.
Fuck it.
I've never seen that. Fucking thing sucks. There's no words there. Okay, ready? Take it away. Go, go. Yeah. Go, go. Yeah. Go, go. Yeah. Fuck it. We'll do it live. Fuck it. Go, go. What's that mean? To play us out? To end the show? Yeah.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to my dark hole of the internet. My dark little corner of the internet. I don't know. Dark Horse Live, episode 152. Happy Halloween. Hopefully you had a good, safe, happy Halloween. Today on the show, BK Roller's here in studio. He's been gone for like 60 plus days or something. I haven't seen much out of him at all. So I told him to come over and tell me where the fuck he's been. Yeah, I think he physically circumvented the entire globe. So, yeah, we'll talk to him about what's going on in Thailand and what he saw out there. And real quick, 100K Grand Prix is officially 1 month away. 1 month away. I think we're going to limit the entries or to do a sign-up end on the entries on the 15th of this month. So you basically have about 2 weeks to get signed up. And, December 1st through the 3rd, 100kgrandprix.com. Go check it out. It'll be streamed live on this channel. Winner take all cash prize tournament. And I've been talking about it a lot, but we are officially 1 month away. So, and you guys think about signing up that have been holding out. You have 2 weeks to get signed up. We're not going to make the 100K. I'll just be frank this year. It doesn't look like it at all. We'll be lucky to get to about 20K. May even be significantly less than that, depending on how many like late minute signups and whatnot we have. We canceled the hash contest, so it's only flower only this year. But regardless, I look forward to it. It's going to be a good time. We're going to be in Las Vegas 1 month from now, so come down, hang out, see us. You can get a ticket to the award show party and come chill. There'll be a party, limited open bar, and some plethora of cannabis to smoke from the contest. So I look forward to seeing you guys there. With that said, let's move it along. I have a dipshit of the day I want to do this week. So,
oh yeah.
With that said, let's do dipshit of the day.
Fuck.
We are not muted now. Apologize. I'm going to run this back. Thanks for telling me in the chat. And, I apologize. But, anyway, so dipshit of the day. Dipshit of the day this week goes out to Jad Mile High Smoke and specifically Stacy and Joshua Davis. And what happened here, we did a dipshit of the day not that long ago, like on this specific topic, how the city of Denver issued a bunch of citations to like smoke lounges, like a yoga shop and a bunch of other random shit. And we were talking shit about the city of Denver. Originally, we thought the city of Denver, I'm going to read a few segments from this article, which is in Rooster Magazine, which is this is online only, I believe, written by Marshall Dunham. It was published October 30th. But originally, we thought the city of Denver was just busting balls. However, it's recently been brought to light that the reason these companies all received these aforementioned ball bustings was because the owner of the only cannabis consumption bar in Colorado complained to various enforcement agencies. Indeed, it would appear Stacy Davis, who owns Jad Mile High Smoke, complained to various members of the Marijuana Enforcement Division, Denver government, and even the mayor's office and the chief of police in an attempt to extinguish what she refers to as a continued illegal consumption of cannabis in Denver. We received screenshots of the emails from Nicholas Barreto. I'm probably saying his name wrong. I apologize. He's at cannabis.connoisseur.007, it looks like on Instagram, who explains that the emails were sent to him anonymously. So basically, the emails got leaked of this person trying to, well, we'll just continue. So Davis outlined a plethora of events in the emails alleging them as illegal and urging the city of Denver to shut them down before they happened. Some of these events included Terp Talks, the Pot Girl Summer Tour, various sesh events, and even yoga classes. Real action will be required, wrote Davis to more than 20 recipients in her emails. So she sent this to actually 20 different agencies repeatedly. Actual consequences need to be administered because right now every single licensed brand in the state thinks they have unfettered access to give product away freely at unlicensed and illegal consumption events. Davis goes on to allege that various cannabis companies will be bringing illegal products to give away freely for consumption at these ticketed public available sesh events. These type of events go on daily under your nose with your tactic approval. Davis then finished her email with a thinly veiled threat to Denver Mayor Mike Johnson to get the media involved. Mr. Mayor, we welcome to the team, wrote Davis. Perhaps everyone receiving information in one fell swoop will hasten activity. I'm happy to invite the news station to the next chat we have. So this is kind of a weird flex where you're like kind of snitching like a motherfucker and then like going directly to the mayor and then saying, welcome to your new position, and I'm going to call the press in here next time we have this meeting. So these people are real fucking weird. And one other thing that came up, there's a few things that came about this article. Like I say, it came across my attention today, and I was like, what is this? But I was reading about it on Reddit, and then I researched this Jad smoke place. One of the things that came up is they were a black-owned business and LGBTQ-owned business. And I was like, okay, I don't really have a position on that. But then a picture of them showed up, and I was like, who the fuck are these people, right? Well, let's take a look. Stacey Davis. It's exactly what you would think she would probably look like. I mean, this is the Karen of all Karens.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Karen Davis.
But yeah, Stacey Davis right here, pictured here. And then we found Joshua Davis, who's on the right. I don't know who the guy on the left is. He sucks that he's appearing on Dipshit of the Day right now. But the guy on the right is Joshua Davis. So I don't know if they're... I feel like they got some sort of like 23andMe going on, and they saw like 1% African in there, and they were like, we can use this as a marketing tactic. We'll be African American owned, and we'll be LGBTQ, and like, I don't know. It's not really my position to say much on that, but I thought that was kind of interesting. But something else kind of came up on this. Well, first I want to show the actual emails. I'm not going to read them all, but I want to show them real quick. See if I can do this correctly. So yeah, you can read this article if you Google the title, but yeah, essentially here's the articles that I just wanted to scan, or the emails I just wanted to scan through them. She's talking about the hash and headies in these stores. They're in their stories, so you have to quickly go. But this chick's all over Instagram looking at anyone who's promoting an event and trying to basically get it shut down before it happens because they have the only legal licensed cannabis consumption lounge in the state. And yeah, so they went on to do multiple events, multiple emails, Terp Talks, Pot Girl Summer Tour, Stacey Davis Hope Holdings LLC or LTD. But then, yeah, if you read the emails, I'm not going to go through them all here, but they're actually highly entertaining. Yes, but there's also one more thing that was weird as fuck about this whole thing. So. I don't even know if how I should even comment on this, but I guess I'll just get to it, which is weird. So one of the specific, let's see. Every time I go to this thing, it kicks off my sound. I apologize. But anyway, there's another weird thing about this article that I wanted to bring up, which was the Marshall Dunham guy who wrote it has like a weird F-bomb like vibe going through this thing. It's kind of like a street sort of written article. You can tell it's online published only. But the original published article that was talking about Mr. Mayor, welcome to the team. Perhaps everyone receiving the information will hasten activity. I'm happy to invite the news to the next chat. There was another comment written in by the author of the article that I thought we should call attention to that has since been edited or taken offline. And I just thought this guy was weird. This whole story is fucking weird. But unfortunately, if you read the bottom, these emails only prove our theory that everything involving cannabis and its respective industries went to shit the minute white people got involved. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, why is it going to be racist?
Why does it go to weird race shit? And that's the guy that wrote this article. I was like, so the person that wrote this article is kind of trash, and the people in it are kind of trash, but I was like curious. I'm like, who is this person? So, of course, I had to go look up to see who Marshall Dunham is.
I'm going to vote that he's a white guy.
Fort Collins, dude. And he's like, granola is all fuck. And I'm like, I guess it's part of the woke movement or whatever the hell. But
Sure.
weird fucking flex, weird article, weird story, weird people involved. And yeah, I have to give dipshit of the day to basically everyone associated with this whole story. From fucking Stacey Davis, Joshua Davis, Marshall Dunham, who wrote this weird fucking piece, to the LGBTQ-owned, black-owned fucking piece to this, to the weird white person flex at the end of this. Like, just a weird fucking story. All right, I'm going to move it along.
Well, hold on. Let me. White person flex would be incorrect. White person, like,
Or
diss.
diss, or, yeah, I don't,
would
again.
definitely be in there. But, let's go back to Stacey. If that chick and her company and her team had spent as much effort and money and time into promoting her business, because there's 3 OGs in this room right now, and none of us ever heard of her business, and she's got the only legal consumption lounge. Like, come on, man! Like, are you kidding me? Learn to step your game up. Use your efforts in the right direction. If you marketed your shit, then everyone would know about it, and everyone would be hitting you up to make these venues. But now that you've publicly been outed as a snitch, like, you went to everyone. You went to the mayor, the MED, the police, and then talking about wanting to get the news.
Like yoga classes and shit.
Yeah,
It's
like you just buried your business. You might as well try to sell tomorrow, because you're not ever going to do anything. You're done. Like, that's not what this community is about. That is not what the new recreational wave is about. So good luck in the future, Karen. That's all I got to say.
Well, you can hear him, you can see him. BK Roller, welcome to the program, my friend. Welcome back. He's got himself a glass of wine, and he's got to have some stories to tell, because he's been gone for half a year, or, well, 2-3 months, it seems like.
Yeah, it's
quarter
been a
of the
while.
year. I don't know where you've been. You've been gallivanting around the globe.
Brother.
But yeah, tell us. Everybody. I think we did a podcast a while back talking about we were trying to get an extraction machine to do some R&D testing in Thailand and do some stuff like that. And I know you had eventually made your way out there. But I don't know. Where do you want to start this story, or how do you want to tell this recap of you going to Thailand and back? Where do we begin? Because I didn't talk to you much at all about it, because I just want to get it fresh, live on the air. Like, you tell me what the heck happened. I'm genuinely curious what you've been through.
Well, this is probably going to show, but yeah, it's. I feel like I just did 2 tours in Nam. It's, first of all, shout out to Thailand. Shout out to the true people and the true culture in Thailand. Swati Kap. You guys are awesome, but the people that we were involved with were not so much to begin with. So I guess we'll just start
You
at the
got
beginning.
swindled?
That's an understatement. I got swindled by 2 complete morons that are this side of drooling on themselves 24 hours a day. I feel defeated and beat down, because literally, I saw this happening. I tried to circumvent it, and so maybe that's the best place to start. Is, guys, we're used to business in America where it's definitely governed and dictated by laws. that is where we focused on creating this joint venture with unknown people, and the whole idea of governing laws in Thailand is it's kind of a myth. Laws in Thailand are bendy, was how it was described to me.
I mean, all foreign business is kind of sketchy at some point because really you don't really know what you're getting into with their laws / customs / ways, and you just don't know sometimes, you know. But yeah, sorry to cut you off.
No, I mean, no, you're absolutely correct, and that was expected to a degree. What wasn't expected was, you know, throwing away $250,000 in legal fees, making an ironclad joint venture to be, you know, have any arbitration outside of either country. Everything was set up right. The money, the effort, the time, the legal expertise, but it didn't fucking matter a bit.
Well, that's to say, like, international law is a motherfucker, and it's very expensive to be able to kind of litigate through international law. But before we go down all that story, I'm just genuinely curious. I kind of want to start with, like, so you kind of got hooked up with some people, and you're going to go to Thailand and kind of check out Eyes on the project. And I just want to start with, like, your trip to Thailand. I've thought about going. It's fucking, what, 20, 30 hours on airplanes and shit, and you showed me your itinerary on the way out, and I was like, you're going to go through China?
Yeah.
And, like, first of all, let's just start with how the fuck is the first leg, which is like a 16, 17-hour flight? How do you even manage doing a 16, 17? Do you have a middle seat? Where are you at on that?
Okay, so, yeah, we can talk about Cathay Air. Shout out to Cathay Air because I'd never heard of this airline before, and my God, it was the opposite of rude awakening. I was met at the door with a glass of champagne and a warm towel.
Those international flights sometimes get a little extra bougie. It's like different than these, whatever, domestic state to state, like fucking cow haulers.
And, you know, my trip to Thailand was not planned. It was, Chris went out to finish up the isolation, and we, right before Chris went out, we kind of had a shakeup on the officers, the executive officers side of the Thailand venture. And essentially what it was one of our actual team mates, officers, and one of theirs trying to make a power move. So that being said, that's why Chris went out. And then in trying to realign that side, he asked for my help and for me to come out and try to help him, like, you know, get everything back in order. Yeah, that didn't happen.
So you skipped right off this airplane. I'm just fixated on this airplane.
No,
so
yeah,
you
but
get on this airplane ride, and it's fucking like 16, 17 hours, and you're saying it was nice. They had, what, big spacious seats and shit? You could recline. You actually
Recliners,
slept?
yeah.
Like,
Recliners came up, supported your feet.
So you have the ability to fly for 16 hours without freaking out in a
They
tube.
gave you a headphone set, not earbuds, actual nice headphone set, a blanket, pillow, fresh socks to put on, eye blinds, just, yeah, I was blown away. The 17-hour leg was nothing.
So then you land in China, and I was worried about this connection. I'm like,
Yeah, me too.
You're going to this communist state. I think I told you before you left. I'm like, I don't know that you should bring laptops and fucking cellular devices and all that, because they kind of clone all that shit when you go through. I was just worried about it in a sense. I was like, I don't know, you should bring everything you have. But you went through China, and how did that go?
Bro, that was fucking hilarious. So I had the exact same feeling. I tried to make sure all of my luggage was clear. My backpack was my carry-on, and I obviously missed a dab tool. And so here's what's weird. I got off the plane from America in China, in Hong Kong, and they got us off the plane on a tarmac. We went into a door and then loaded onto a bus and went around the corner of the building and went into another door and then went immediately through security again. So they scanned all of our bags.
Yeah.
You know, I'm
Kind of the double TSA.
Yeah.
They kind of do that on international sometimes. Yeah.
and I'm thinking the exact same thing you just said. I was like, oh, they're gonna clone all my shit. So I'm stashing phones because I have multiple. So I'm like, I put my main one in the backpack. So I'm like, yeah, well, they can clone this old one, this burner. And yeah, that wasn't the issue. Is they definitely flagged my bag. And the chick is starting to go through my bag. Another chick comes up and says, no, it's in here in the top flap. And they pull out this dab tool that's this fucking long. It's a gold dab tool with a pointy end on one end.
Right.
So
did you know you brought a dab tool to China?
no, obviously not. So I was just getting ready to say, no.
I've seen Midnight Express. I know where this story's going.
Well, at the time, and here's a weird caveat. So when I took off, CBD was legal in China. When I got to China, it was not legal. So they had passed a law.
Like in the past few hours?
Yes, rescinding the CBD legality. So I'm thinking, okay, I'll just claim it's CBD tool. Like she pulls it out, and she's like, "What's this?" And I was like, it's a tool for concentrates. And she just looks at me with the poo-poo face and the cocked head. And
it's just like prison forever.
Right. And I was like, CBD. And that didn't even work. So she goes over to her supervisor, and they both look at it like monkeys trying to fuck a football. And they're like, what is this? And she comes back to me, and she said, and made the motion next to her ear. Like it was something
Earwax
to
tool?
clear earwax. And I was like, yes. And she gave it back to me.
It's technically an earwax tool.
She gave it back to me. I put it back in my bag, and I was gone. Because I was sitting there thinking, I was like, dude, there's no way they're going to let me on the
Do
plane
you think
with this.
she took pity on you and knew exactly what it was, or do you think she
No.
genuinely thought it was an earwax
Not a clue.
tool? Yeah.
Not a clue whatsoever. There was so deer in the headlights look on their face and their eyes. Oh my God. So yeah, that was interesting. So when I flew back, I went through Qatar, and because I was going through an Arab country, I definitely made sure there was nothing in my bag, not anything that could even be mistrued as contraband, as far as like drug paraphernalia.
And alcohol probably, or just anything.
No, they
yeah.
drink, and that was the interesting thing as well. Is over there you can fly with a firearm, as long as it's not loaded.
It's fucking crazy. It's not America, so I guess it's whatever. Chill.
Well, that's bullshit. This is America.
This
Like
is
we're
America.
supposed to be. We're all about our gun rights, and we what the fuck.
So you take the shorter hop to Thailand, and I'm just curious. First impressions when you walk out of Thailand customs and you're officially there. You're probably dog ass tired, but you're officially in Thailand. What are your first impressions when you walk out of the airport? And I guess Bangkok, right?
Yeah. So I stayed in Bangkok airport for about 6.5 hours waiting for my connector to Chiang Rai, and so yeah, I walked out to smoke, and it was different than being back home. I expected the heat and the humidity, but it was a different kind of heat. It was weird because the humidity was high, but it almost felt like a super intense dry heat. So from the get, it was weird. And I was like, okay, I'm starting to see why people might be having some issues growing over here. It's a different environment. There's different salinity in the air. I've got a million theories on how to increase the cannabis quality there, but that's going to be further down the road for sure.
So you catch a connector flight into Chiang Rai, which is northern Thailand, right?
Yeah, it's spelt Chiang Rai, but it's pronounced Chiang Lai, and that's not an Asian dig. That's just the way it's fucking pronounced. A lot of their R's are actually L's, and that's where I think a lot of the stereotypical shit comes from.
Yeah.
Is
So it's
like,
Chiang Lai, not Rai.
right, because they can pronounce R's just fine, no problem whatsoever. They even roll their R's, and get kind of chafed when foreigners can't roll.
So this is kind of more of a northern territory that's not really as busy. Like, is this like a big city, or is this more like you're in farm country? As soon as you come out of this airport, you're like, whoa, now I'm really out here in the middle of nowhere.
I mean, Chiang Rai is a small city. I think it's probably the third largest, and I could be wrong, so don't quote me on this, but I think it's the third largest city in Thailand.
So it's a good sized city.
It's decent. I know Chiang Mai, which is a few hours south, is the second largest city, and they have a decent population. But as far as Chiang Rai, it's more like not necessarily your super small town vibe. But it's cool. If you guys, and we'll get into this later when I start talking about the quality of flower across Thailand.
It's like the Reno, Nevada instead of like Las Vegas, basically. If you're gonna get a weird bad analogy,
Okay.
Bangkok is Las Vegas and Shanghai would be like Reno.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you hit on something without even knowing it. So the Chinese, I noticed there's hella Chinese flying into Bangkok, and they're flying into Bangkok, and then they're taking the same jumper flight that I am to Chiang Mai. And I'm wondering, like, why? Why are all these rich Chinese businessmen flying up to, what I thought, like what you were describing was, a small town, farm town. This is where, all the growers are and whatnot. No, it's the closest point to Laos. So you go right over the Mekong River and you're in Laos. And the Chinese have bought up like the whole bank and built Las Vegas. It's called Laos Vegas.
No shit, huh?
No shit. I shit you not. So and
Gambling everywhere around the
and
world.
it's hilarious because they won't let Laotians inside. Like it's really. I don't know if that's racist, but it seems racist. Like you're going to buy up land in the country and then put up these nice casinos in this country and then not allow the citizens of said country to come in.
Interesting. So, take me to, you make it to basically the farm, the project, the people that we're going to be working with kind of have a greenhouse, right, in a makeshift lab that you're doing some extraction on. I don't know how deep you want to go into all that. I don't think that's the most riveting podcast, but at the same time, I'm kind of curious.
It's not the most riveting.
Show me what you saw as far as cultivated. We'll just start here. Like your first plants you saw in Thailand. What did you see?
Yeah, that would be our partners, our initial partners, greenhouse, and that was pulling teeth to get to even see it.
They didn't want to show you?
They did not want to show me.
Do you think they were ashamed of it, or they just didn't trust you? Or
they were absolutely ashamed of it. It was amateur at best. They had 5 greenhouses. This guy, as I said, made some underhanded power moves to try to remove the CEO over there, who was the boss, who had the most ownership of equity in the company. And they didn't understand that you can't just fire somebody out of a corporation. It has to be voted on by the other owners if they have.
Board.
Yeah, it has to go before the board. But no, these idiots thought that they could just make a power move and then they were going to run Thailand. And so this guy's job, he was a 7% equity owner because of his connections, and what he brought to the table is why he was on there. But he was also supposed to be the person that knew the most about cultivation of cannabis. And so I finally get out there, and it's weeks after I've been here, that I get to the cultivation site. And it's 5 greenhouses, and the one greenhouse that has plants in it has a padlock on it, and the guy who brought me did not have the keys. So I got to look in the other greenhouses and see that they were absolutely not set up right.
What was the construction like? Because I've heard in Thailand they obviously they don't have a Home Depot and shit where you just go buy your lumber and your shit like some Americans would be used to.
Correct.
Out there you kind of go lob some trees over or whatever, hack some trees down and build some sort of structure.
It's not that bad. It's not that bad. They're very good at welding. Concrete's cheap there, so most of the buildings and structures are built out of concrete, not the greenhouses, obviously. But it was a metal greenhouse with poly on top. This kind of like fine mesh screen for walls. It did not allow any air movement in between.
It's like a garbage bag.
Yeah, no, it's more like a really fine screen, like for your screen door.
Okay.
But there was literally the wind was blowing before I walked in, and you could feel nothing on the inside. So the wind was not coming through. There was no air exchange, which I would say is the idea there. Again, super fucking hot. They had some immature plants in there that were deficient in many ways. Just first onset of eyes being on the plants, I was like, oh, you're nitrogen deficient. You're showing a little magnesium
Bill immediately
deficiency.
does Bill things where he walks in and he's like, I see that you're going to need some nitrogen over here. And So I'm sure, yeah, they'd love to see you walking through there.
Well, they weren't there. Like, again, I went by myself, and after pulling teeth to be able to see this, and yes, asshole, I am that asshole.
Is it 12 and 12, or are they doing a mixed light
Yes.
kind of thing where they're keeping it on, or how's the
It's
photo
right
period?
at the cusp of 12 and 12 there, and that again is part of the issue. Another huge part of the issue, Jason, is there's a lot. It's intense sun. The sun is close. It feels more intense than it does here, but there's a slight cloud cover, and they burn off rye in multiple times of the year. So there's this kind of haze in the sky, and I feel like it's filtering the sunlight. I don't feel like there's any blues or reds that's getting through. It more looks like white and, whitish yellow light. So really weird, different lighting than I've ever seen anywhere in the world. So that was
You're talking sunlight.
sunlight. Yeah,
So the light appeared different in Thailand too.
absolutely.
That's crazy.
That's what I thought, because I know several seasoned growers that's been out there trying to grow. Indoor, they're doing okay. Outdoor, they're not. And I don't know if we want to flash forward to that. No, let's stay where we're at. So,
Let me interrupt real quick. Is there greenhouses like everywhere? Is it kind of like, what I'm thinking in my mind, like Pueblo, Colorado, where all of a sudden there's a boom of cannabis, so all the farmers have switched to growing hemp or cannabis, so you're driving down the road and you look left and right and you just see fields of pot, or what did you see?
kind of. So, again, we're a year and a half or so into legalization there. So, yes, I saw a lot of greenhouses that you could tell they were put up recently. Because, again, this is a jungle, and if anything's not maintained, the jungle will reclaim it in like days, months at
Totally.
the very least. And so, but to the flip side of what you're saying, it was more so dilapidated greenhouses where people have already started and failed and given up. The people next to our cultivation site were one of those. They went from being I believe they were a pig farm. They went to a cannabis farm. They built greenhouses in the wrong direction, and they failed. And then they went back to pig farming. So
remnants of kind of failed grows already everywhere.
Yes. And, I hated seeing that because, again, we've witnessed it in different levels where, like you're saying, in Idaho or Pueblo here, in other states like, Oklahoma, that's all over the news right now. How many over cultivation that's going on with the 14,000 plus licenses in the state, and they don't have the medical demand for said cultivation. So, anyway, the growing aspects in Thailand are definitely a different animal. I've been everywhere.
Did you see any particular strains? I imagine there's autos more prevalent in a 12 and 12 environment, or did you
Yes.
see, photos being run, or what stood out, if anything?
I saw a lot of autos at first, and you know how autos carry kind of like that same haze smell across, and so I was like, oh yeah, auto. The biggest thing that was standing out to me at first was none of the fucking flower had trikes. It was just, and a majority of it was it not just it being auto, but you could smell mold in 90% of the flower, and it like the people there that were going around checking out these dispensaries with me, and I'm like, and
Wet
they're
dish
like,
rag.
you're a snob, like you are a pot snob. It's like, if it's not just top shelf, I'm like, no, dude, like there's mold in there, and I don't want to inhale a bunch of mold. So I'm not trying to curl my nose, but that's a reaction.
Sure.
And
I imagine that the people that grow do it especially a farm, when you switch crops and you're like, okay, fill this whole field up of weed, and then you cut it down and you have no fucking idea what to do from there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And some of them do. They know about what should be done per se with the process, but they don't have the right space or setup.
Sure.
And we've all ran into that problem. But with them, what I hear more prevalent than not is like they'll put it in their top room, which is getting baked by the sun, and so it's baking the shit out of it. So A lot of the flower is brown, on the shelf. That was one thing that was relayed to me about our dispensary there. Was when Chris got there, he went in the dispensary and everything was so brown it was yellow.
Just brown weed.
Yeah, and he was like, get all of this out of here. We can't sell
Can't
this.
be represented like
exactly.
this, yeah.
I'd rather shut the door and not be open than to tarnish the name like this. So
talk to me culturally about cannabis and kind of what you experience as far as like, are people openly smoking cannabis all over the place? Are they excited about legalization, or is it just sort of one of these things where it's like that's just another revenue thing that's here? How did you perceive like cannabis in general amongst the population?
Okay, so there is a cannabis culture there that is pretty strong. As far as is it part of the culture? Absolutely not. Kind of like we talked about before going into this venture was we saw the recreational market as being tourist based, and it absolutely is. But tourism only makes up 20% of their GDP. It's not like it's huge, but tourism does help them thrive. That being said, it's not a part of culture. And then my larger concern is with that type of quality of flower, none of these guys knew that was bad quality.
Sure.
They knew it as cannabis.
Sure.
It's free weed, or it's not like, free, but legal weed.
Like bales or bushes of weed, like bundles of weed that, I don't know, that they kind of just see as like an agricultural product as opposed to where we see it as a fine flower maybe, and we're, babying that fucker along, putting it in a nice glass jar, staring at it, where to them it's almost like a bale of weed.
I mean, they do put it in glass displays. There was Smoker's Focus.
Sure. I mean, as I've said before, I don't mean to insult anybody if it comes up. I'm just really green to this, so I'm asking genuine questions. But I know, obviously, around the world, there's everyone. Our closets are the same size as yours closets, which is one of my favorite quotes. Because if you got the knowledge, willpower, means that you can grow light a closet, get on the internet, figure out how to grow good weed. I'm just talking more general what you saw when you were there, obviously.
Right. And that's what I'm trying to get across, because again, it concerns me with people that are kind of experimenting for the first time, and they're smoking like oh, it's legal now and it has medical benefits, because how I am. This plant's all medical for me. They're gonna smoke some moldy, shitty fucking weed. They're gonna get turned off to it, and so it's not gonna get accepted by the culture.
Yeah, right. It's gonna turn big if people aren't liking the product. I heard that there's dispensaries everywhere. Maybe this is more Bangkok, but I heard that there's dispensaries kind of like Denver Green Mile or LA fucking Green Mile, where like you see them like all over the place. You can't miss them, kind of thing. Did you experience that when you were in the Bangkok or up in the more northern territories?
Don't get me wrong. There's
cities?
Dispensaries, but it's not like they were. You want to know what is all over fucking Bangkok? 7-Elevens. There's a 7-Eleven across the street. There's a 7-Eleven less than a block down on the same side of the street you're on. That blew my mind.
Yeah. And when I went to Australia, I saw a bunch of Burger Kings, but they were slightly different logo, slightly different name. But it is still the same menu. It's the same shit, but for some reason they tweaked the logo and stuff for different countries.
Right.
But it does throw you for a loop. Also, I remember when I was in Australia, I was like, wait, like everyone listens to like American pop music and they all watch Survivor, and like our top TV shows go syndicated around the world, which I just didn't, as an American, I didn't really think about holy shit, like everyone's watching this crap. Not everything we do, but I'm just saying some of our shows go around the world. But it just kind of blew me away going to like a disco or some shit in Spain and seeing everyone sing every song, every lyric of a Biggie song, and it's like, oh, sure, everyone knows everything.
But like a decade or so behind, and Thailand's 2 or more. They're like late 80s, early 90s. That's the vibe I get. They like their malls. They'll go fucking just hang out and shop in the malls, and their malls are huge, like 12 stories tall and shit. And just like I'm like, the cost of living there in general is very, very low. You can get great meals for $2. It's like.
So let me ask you this: what did you smoke? If obviously you didn't find good pot right off the jump, and I know that you need to get high on the daily. How was getting high out there? Did you find some hash? Did you find something that could work for you? And I make it a two-parter, because the only thing I know about Thailand is Thai stick. I figured like
Yeah,
I was like, Bill's gonna come back with some fucking land race shit. He's gonna have some fire ass like Thai something, and I'm like, I'm really intrigued to see what he's gonna bring back.
Yeah.
And what he brought back, and I'm not talking shit, but what he brought back is this, which is actually pretty dope. I got me a new shirt.
Greenhouse, Thailand.
But yeah, tell us, I don't know, about how you got high and you find a Thai stick, or tell us what is Thai stick. Tell me what you know about Thai stick and how the fuck did you get high when you're in Thailand if you didn't like the weed you found initially.
Okay, so Chris had met me at the airport and he bought a dab rig and it had its own internal like torch, so that was fucking cool. And naturally, since we had went through all this effort of sending that machine, getting that machine set up, the post-processing, the short path distillation, we had a plethora
of your own
of extracts, yes. They were not, you're still limited by the quality of the flower or the input, but it was enough to get me by for sure. After that, and after all of that shitstorm started going to hell, instead of just sitting there in the Airbnb and being like, well, this shit's fucked, I was like, I'm in Thailand. I'm going to go into town. I'm going to start networking and talking to dispensary owners. And I'm still making this happen is the mind frame I got into. And I went into Chiang Mai and I went around. Actually, Ohio's Captain Dank, Robert, was out there. And he's been living out there for 6 years. And he showed me around to a few dispensaries and introduced me to a few really cool people. So it flipped from just being involved with really scummy people.
Yeah, being kind of bummed out.
Yeah.
Then seeing some real cannabis people.
Really, really, like these guys live the culture, and that's.
I have some pictures.
Yeah. So the owner of Harweed Moon, which is like, I went all over Thailand, obviously, focused on seeing and assessing the quality of flower in Thailand. And Harweed Moon, by far, took the cake. They have a grower that is exclusive to them, I believe, and his name is Jay. He had a couple of his own strains that he bred. Forgive me, I do not remember the crosses off the top of my head, but I liked them so much that I got seeds of one of his crosses. I traded him some Marathon, and so that was the first place I was shocked and found not just quality but really good quality. Like Jay's flower absolutely stoned me, and maybe it was because at that point I'd been weeks without good flower, but it definitely was a pleasant surprise. And then followed up closely in second place was a place called Chaiweed Moon. And yeah, that's the smoke area in Harweed Moon. And the people with their back to us in the black shirt and the white shirt are two Russians that I met at an owners meeting. And the gentleman to my left in the black shirt, that is Off. He is the owner of Harweed Moon. And then to the right of me is Ming. He's from Singapore. Really genuine smoker. He used cannabis to battle other demons medicinally, and he's a rock star for that shit. It just that right there was the beginning of me really getting to know Thai's cannabis culture. They love psychedelics, they love mushrooms, they love L. This is Bang. This is another local grower. And I'll also say, like, I went out to see this guy's place, and I believe it was Ming that took me out and introduced me to Bang and or Bank. And he was describing him as a farmer. And so I'm expecting to see a farm, and I get there, and this guy's growing indoor, and he's growing a couple, obviously he's got a 2-liter kicking off there. I think that was maybe his veg, maybe that was no, that was his flower. So he had just put into flower. And so the term grower and farmer is intertwined there in Thailand. So if you're growing indoors or not, it's kind of like you're a farmer because you're growing plants. Whereas over here, you're a farmer if you're growing an ass load of plants, and you're a grower if you've got a few lights in your side bedroom or basement or whatever.
Okay.
That's the Golden Triangle. So because I stayed there over 30 days, I had to leave the country and get my passport stamped and then re-enter the country. And what better place to do it than the Golden Triangle, which was literally right next to where I was in Chiang Mai, just about 30, 40-minute drive, I believe. And it was, like, again, Thailand in general was so just, it was cool. It was awesome. That's off right there. That's the owner of Harweed Moon. Probably the most knowledgeable with cannabis since out of everyone I met and spoke with in Thailand. He started growing right before they went legal with cannabis, and he was doing like 1,400 rai of industrial hemp, and he did it right. He did covered rows with irrigation, and I was really impressed for somebody that was their first go at growing hemp, cannabis, whatever, and to jump in that large with a coalition of farmers.
Oh yeah.
That's Max, his manager, head bud tender. Really, these were great people. Like the hospitality that they showed me kind of, again, started to flip the script. And I kept seeing different business advertisements with cabbage and condom, and the next
It's a condom restaurant?
Well, that's what it's like, why condom? And it almost leads to what this episode should have been titled, and that's fuckery.
Cabbage and
So
cabbage and condoms.
I think there's so much fuckery going on in Thailand that the condoms are needed everywhere, even when you just go into a restaurant. Coffee, bakery, condoms.
Coffee, bakery, what does condoms mean to an American translation? It's obviously not what we think.
I'm
Condiments?
I'm maybe. I never got a clarification on that because that
Chat, let us know what's going on in Thailand and why there's condoms on every cafe.
yeah.
Interesting.
So, flash forward to some people that we got the pleasure to meet. This is Mr. Udon.
I'll say
and
this
Miss
looks
Ari.
very like formal.
These
You
are,
put on like nice pants.
yeah, it's business and we're having meetings, but obviously, Mr. Udon, Sway as I call him, because he's definitely old school, just boss vibe. He's got a very strong presence. I really fell in love with this dude when I met him. The ironic part was he was a potential investor with our joint venture, and when we decided that our partners were essentially just trying to scam investors, they were looking at getting a large investment as an income because it was verbalized multiple times, and it was at this point where Ethic decided to pull out of that joint venture, and I couldn't let them possibly get scammed. So I reached out. Their son is actually their son-in-law. Oh yeah, that's the original joint venture there. So the gentleman in the plaid shirt and the gentleman in the white T-shirt and the gentleman holding the phone. If you guys ever have business with these guys, you might want to just turn the opposite way and run before you get fucked. Just being straightforward. There is Mr. Udon once again, and there is his son-in-law Zach Tanner. Zach was actually monumental in me starting to really understand not just Thai culture but Thai business, and maybe even to a degree operating as a foreigner, even though he's lived there like 12 years. His Thai is amazing. and he still obviously speaks great English. So getting across the language barrier there was one of the huge hurdles, because there's words that don't exist in English that exist in Thai and vice versa. So Zach was able to bridge that. He's a cannabis enthusiast. He's been growing for a few years, and understands and loves the plant. He has mad love for the plant. He's actually an aspiring breeder, so he wants to possibly work with us and in some licensing faction, or maybe even some tutelage, if you will, in breeding, because that seems to be his true aspirations in this.
Gotcha. There's completed your little picture on there, but yes, there's some of the characters involved, some of the people that you met. As you kind of went through and I guess saw this, was there? I know that you kind of spent your time up in the northern Chiang Mai territory, but once you went back to Bangkok and started exploring other options and talking to other people and everything, talk to me about kind of the second half of your trip. Or I kind of feel like you spent some time in Bangkok. Like, what was that place about? I've only seen clips, videos, whatever, pictures, but it seems like busy, chaotic, crazy, tuk-tuks, people on motorcycles going nuts. Like,
I got to experience tuk-tuk. I got to experience a lot more than I actually wanted to.
more than I wanted to. Uh-oh.
Yeah, it's just, Bangkok is huge, bro. It's not like the cities that we where we compress and go up. They had, moderate skyscrapers, probably 30 to 50 floor or story buildings, but it was just sprawled. I mean, huge. And then when I say that more than what I wanted to, one of our partners, Robert, he got his phone taken, and probably one of the worst cab rides ever, because the whole time this guy got tickled because I made a comment and started laughing, and then he started laughing, and he had a hilarious deep belly laugh, which started me getting deep belly laugh. So for about 5 to 10 minutes, we were all laughing so hard we were crying. He was saying, "Please, I'm gonna die. I don't want to die. Let me breathe." It was fucking great. It was a moment, and but when we had gotten to the cab, he asked where we were going, and Robert was trying to take me to see a Muay Thai fight and / like go-go bar. So they had this infusion where they start off with what seemed to be, what he said, described as anyway, a choreographed Muay Thai fight, and then chicks came out and it was a go-go bar. And I was like, okay, I can buy that, but they had been trying to get me in go-go bars the whole fucking time. I wasn't there for that. I was there for business. And it was only supposed to be 2 fucking weeks of business. And at this point, it was like a month and a half. And so, when we get in the cab, the guy is like, "Well, I don't know where that is." So he has Robert pull it up on his maps, and he hands him his phone. Laughing the whole way through in the cab ride and having this just, kind of moment. We get to the place, Robert's already got his money out to pay the cab driver, and he gives him the money. We jump out because it's a super busy, intersection, and go to shut the door, and I can't even shut the door, and dude just darts off. And then Robert realizes, shit, my phone. And so dude literally grifted that. We tried to get that phone back. We tracked it a few days later, and it was in a phone store, like
being disassembled,
a phone vendor, and there was like 15 of the same Apple 14s. It's like, what the fuck. So that part was kind of got grifted there a little bit, but outside of that, it was very interesting. Soy Cowboy, I walked through the gauntlet to kind of see what it was all about, and it was literally a very short alley. And I was like, so the next road and the next road, it's all the same, right? All this crazy debaucherous, ladyboy clubs, straight prostitutes, and you're going through there like the Heisman. It's like, you know, back the fuck up, because they're trying to grab
Aggressive.
hold. Oh hell yeah! I've never seen chicks more aggressive. They just straight grab your junk and try to pull you into a bar or an alley. You know, it was interesting and an experience. But that being said, there was like 3 dispensaries through there, so that's where I was focused. There's one that was connoisseur cannabis, the purveyors of the finest cannabis in Thailand. What a fucking lie. There was not anything in that store worth purchasing. Starbuds had a kiosk at the beginning of Soy right there on the corner. It was
Same logo that we know here in Denver?
Exactly.
Was it a ripoff, or they actually try to expand to Thailand?
I didn't really talk to the dude because, again, the flower was trash. He literally opened up at 8 p.m. like when Soy started getting going, because I saw the kiosk and I noticed the logo Starbuds, and I'm like, dude, I bet he opens at 8 o'clock, stays open till 2, and does more business than if he was open all day. And so when he opened, I went over and checked out the flower, and I was just like, this is just garbage. And there was a kiosk, a very similar type kiosk at the opposite end of the little strip, and it was Bad Bunny. And they actually had good flower. It had trikes, it had terps, and they had hazelnut cream.
Really?
The cut, because the flower was there. I got to smell it, and I'm like, and he didn't like me asking questions because I got real personal real fast. I was like, how the fuck you got this cut?
That's crazy. Halfway around the world.
Yes. And they had several other hype train cuts, and it was all Thailand grown, or so he was claiming. And that was even more impressive, because I was like, okay, you guys are
Crack the code.
not only getting elite cuts, but you know how to grow them. So it was it was so good that I made a second trip back there. I went through, well, I went early, so the gauntlet wasn't really going, but I went there as soon as he opened so that I could buy more flour. That's one of the few places. Barnaby's in Bangkok, shout out to Barnaby's. They had some lemon tree greenhouse grown that they were selling for indoor price, and that shit was good. That shit just, it gave you a good stone. It hit your eyes. Like,
Good. I'm glad to hear you say you eventually found some good flour in there, because if you were going to just sit here and say you never once saw good flour out there, I'd be like, that's really sad that you went all that far, all that way, and never found anything that made you happy, at least with flour.
Again, like I said, right there in Chiang Lai at Offs, all of Jay's weed was phenomenal. There was some weed that Michael, the owner of Chai Weed, had, kind of pulled out, and that was good weed as well. But just as far as seeing displayed weed in Bangkok, yeah, for sure. This little kiosk, this little cart type deal that's probably all over New York now.
That's crazy. I don't think I ever got an answer to you as far as like land races or genetics. Did you ever find anything special out there that ways, or also the Thai stick thing? I don't know if you ever talked about Thai stick, but
I haven't yet.
Do you see
and
anything wrapped on a stick?
So, first question, the land race. So you know how I am about being picky and about being able to verify what the fuck something is. So I didn't really get to go on a land race hunt like I did in Jamaica. I could have brought back some supposed land race seeds, but I wasn't going down that. There is a few land races that I want to get a hold of there that I found out about. Foxtail or squirrel tail is one of them. And to flip back to the fucking Thai stick. So I had several people explain what Thai stick was to me, and it's nothing like what we Westerners imagine. Thai stick is like this ditchweed, seeded out, land race, I guess, if you want to call it. And they will take it and they will tie essentially a cola to a stick, and then they'll dip it in opium. So yeah, you're getting pretty stoned off that shit, I would imagine, but it's not because it's like phenomenal flower by any means.
Did you see any weed being sold wrapped on a stick?
No. But I did see people, asking about it and talking about it. It was definitely a something that was mentioned often, I'd say, by tourists.
That's the thing. I think it's kind of like going to Hawaii and ask for Maui Wowie.
Right.
Or some shit. Like in Thailand, like, who's got the Thai stick or something. You
Right,
know?
right.
But somebody should make a fucking dispensary called Thai Sticks and fucking wrap weed on a stick and sell it.
Well, yeah, again, that's why there's so many of, if something works and makes money, then they just replicate it. You know, they do knockoffs or whatever, or they'll, if it's a franchise, they're going to get that franchise. 7-Eleven's the best example because Westerners and Europeaners, they all know 7-Eleven. When you're in a third world country or a different country and you're wanting to buy a soda or a pack of smokes or a beer or whatever, you're not sure where to go.
Go to that logo.
Yeah, and they do. And I'm telling you, I spent more in 7-Eleven than I did in almost any other establishment because they're used to Western prices. They're used to, you guys are coming in and you don't understand how the cost of living is hella cheap there in certain aspects. Fuel is still the same. It's relatively, they're paying, you know, what we're paying in fuel, around $4 a gallon and maybe $4.50 for diesel. And it seemed like most of their vehicles were diesel. They were turbo diesels. Zach had a black Porsche like Darren's, and that shit was diesel. It was a turbo diesel. It's the first one I've ever seen. And I was like, what? This is diesel? I took a picture of it. That's I was like, what the fuck?
What about food? I'm just curious. We'll touch on it real fast. Like, was it good? Was it bomb? What were you able to eat? Like, bomb Thai food? Or
I ate it all because I love spicy food. Well, I won't say all because they eat every part of every animal just about. So as far as, you know, just flesh, chicken, beef, pork, and Thai style, meaning with the Thai chilies and the holy basil, fried egg on top of a bed of rice. That shit was delicious. I loved it. And again, it depending on where you were, it was like $2 for a plate of it.
Hell yeah.
It's just, but yeah, as far as rent, as far as food.
How were the
cheap as shit.
accommodations? Did you have like basically a nice standard hotel spot, or how did it work out?
We had an Airbnb for the first month, and then after that, we stayed in a couple of different hotels. We stayed in Kanlaya in Chiang Mai. Shout out to the house lady there, the owner. She showed us the most hospitality that I could ever ask for out of a hotel owner. She actually threw us a going away party with a smorgasbord of food and hot pot fashion. So you just cooked what you wanted as you wanted to eat it. And I smoked some good ganja with her. She was growing a pot plant. I think I got a picture of that too. It was pathetic, but there was a pot plant in the center of her courtyard next to one of the like statues of the original temple that Chiang Rai was, I guess, built around.
She probably named her pot plant Bill.
Well, it's hilarious because after I smoked some good ganja with her, that at the going away party, I lit another one, and another guy a businessman from Bangkok was up there, and so he smoked for his first time, and we're in the middle of taking a picture, and I've got the joint in my mouth, and she's got her arm around me, and the chick takes the picture, and then she steals the joint right out of my mouth, like just slick, like joint grab. And I was like, damn, you would fit in perfectly, you know, back in anywhere in our past culture.
So, biggest surprise or most shocking thing, I don't know, biggest like standout thing that was surprising to you in your trip, or your time in Thailand?
I would say the biggest surprise is they are hustlers, right? They're hustlers on a whole nother level, and you know you got to appreciate that. The sheer tenacity. I expected like hard work, and that's not really the case. But they're definitely hustlers, and it just seems like I guess the same with any other country that you go to. There's going to be good people and there's going to be bad people. But there seems to be a lot of bad hustlers that are just willing to hang a knife, even in their own people. Whereas, with their culture, Thai is supposed to back Thai, and they're Buddhist. And I think really that's where that comes from. It's like you're more apt to be willing to screw somebody over for financial gain or, whatever type of asset-based gain if you're not worried about getting your head caved in.
Right.
If you're like,
Well, the police have your back kind of in a way. If you know that if your uncle's on the police force or some shit, like you might be able to get away with a little bit more.
Yes and no.
Maybe not in every instance, but in certain areas.
So the police have to pay for all their own shit. They have to buy their own car. They have to buy their own gun. They have to buy their own belt, their own uniform, their own fucking bulletproof vest.
How were they with like cannabis? Like, were you scared to walk around the city with like a pipe or like weed in your pocket? I know it's kind of basically legal there at this point, but how do the cops treat it, and how do the cops treat you?
Weed in the pocket, no. I smoked in public a few times, even though maybe once or twice was a little hairy because of not truly understanding the legalities.
Let's say, is that frowned upon? Are you not allowed to smoke in public? Like Denver?
Anywhere you can smoke a cigarette, you're supposed to be able to smoke.
So it's supposed to be New York City rules?
Kind of. But if you're too close to a building,
yeah,
that can be bad. And so where we were smoking, in certain dispensaries and they had like nice tables and shit in the front of their dispensaries on a patio as a, optional smoke area, and you could smoke your cigarettes out there. It gets into a little hairy area. But at the beginning of Soy, I sit there at an outside table in front of this bar, and I rolled a joint with a cop just staring at me. That was a little. I was like, okay, is he just waiting for me to spark this up and be like, yeah, you're coming with me? And again, if you understand the way shit operates there, that's just anywhere from $20 to $2,500, depending on how bad you fucked up to get out of it. Because you only fuck up if you let them take you to the police station. You can literally
negotiate
be drunk
all the way.
I would say you could probably be drunk, totally run over someone and kill them, and it wouldn't cost you more than $2,500 not to ever have been there.
That's fucking insane. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I would say the weird thing about Spain when I went was I saw them writing DUIs like at like a exit on ramp, but the DUIs were basically like, give me your credit card, and it was like it was like $2,000, and they still let them drive away.
Yeah,
it was like, yeah, you committed the offense. We have now gotten our like penalty, so go ahead. I guess like some double jeopardy applies there. Like just continue on.
Yeah. So in Chiang Rai, that's where I became aware of this. Is they would set up checkpoints, and granted, again, we were close to the Golden Triangle, so I imagine there was a high drug traffic trade coming through there. Yeah. But that was all controlled by mafias. So there was like a few different families that was controlling everything. Everybody knows what the fuck's going on,
Sure.
So these checkpoints were more about fleecing tourists.
Just getting some bucks.
Yeah. So if you come through on a scooter without a helmet, I think the fine is like 50 or 100 baht to a local. It's 1,000 baht to a fucking white boy. It's like, oh yeah, you go ahead and pay me. And again, they're pocketing that shit.
Sure. How did you feel like? I mean, I know it's you necessarily, and you don't really ever fear for your safety too much. But in the sense of like, did you feel safe everywhere you went, or did you ever have sketchy vibes like I might get jumped, or that like somehow this isn't a safe place for me, or did you always have a sense of like, I feel fine, whatever. Let's go walk down that sketchy alley.
Yeah, I walked down all the sketchy alleys. But to answer your question, there was aspects where the answer is yes. You're in a third world country. You've got people angling, messing with multi-million-dollar contracts, and a lot of money at stake. And you're in a foreign land, and some of these people are connected. So you wonder how connected they are, and whether you got to concern yourself that way. But as far as day-to-day operations, like I said, yeah, no. In the middle of the night, walk through what most people probably wouldn't walk down as a sketchy alley. No lighting whatsoever, and I just you know me, I don't give a fuck about that type of interaction. I give a fuck about something that's maybe premeditated. There was concerns, and then out of all this fuckery with the previous two, they wanted to threaten us with going to the cops over taking some official documents that were paid for by us. So that was the other hilarious shit. Was this guy?
What do you mean official document?
It was a blueprint from our building that we had put up, and
so you got like a blueprint made, and
yes,
they wanted it, so they went to the cops to get it.
Well, they threatened to. They didn't go to the cops, but it was they sent a text on our group chat, and it was more or less like a crime has been committed.
Deliver the documents.
This is what it said. It said crime has been committed. Official government documents are missing.
Government documents.
The suspects, Rob and Bill. If these documents aren't returned, we will have no choice but to go to the police station. And so even though it's all bullshit, because I know that we paid for this, I'm still thinking I'm in a third world country.
Yeah,
I don't want to go to fucking Thai prison because of some idiots, because again, it doesn't matter a lot of times if people are saying the truth or not. It's enough to get you, another flong. Yeah, that's some money for the system somehow in some way. That being said, we got our other partner on the phone, and there just happened to be a government official that was standing next to me, and I was on speakerphone, and I got them to admit that I was like, "Sai, are you guys talking about the blueprints that we paid for, like the planning and the building and the labor and the materials for that building that I have pictures of that we paid for every penny of?" And he's like, "Well, yeah." I was like, "So how do I steal my own documents?" He's like, well, he's just pissed. He just, I was like, "Well, you're telling me about feelings. I don't care about feelings. I care about legality." And he can be pissed all he wants to, but that doesn't change the legal aspects of it. It's a document that we own. And I've already told you, we don't have it, because we didn't have it. I left it there. I didn't know, but I think somebody threw it essentially over the back fence because they were just like, "Fuck you, this dumb shit, more wasted money." He was just pissed off, and it come out later, and I was again amused at the sheer dumb shit of where these guys tried to angle.
Well, that's what I was going to kind of angle at was Thailand is only a year or two into like cannabis legalization. It wasn't that long ago where they would literally kill you for possession of cannabis. I believe there's huge warning signs at the airports, like
it was
a single joint
drastic,
was like a death penalty kind of thing. So they're making a huge shift. So they don't have the same kind of culture, and I'm just assuming here, but they don't have the same kind of culture where us Americans kind of did, where we grew up through the 60s, 70s, and 80s as outlaws that used to grow these batches. It's like we're like moonshiners in a sense.
Right.
But these guys just didn't do it because they'll cut your head off. So it's like they had no previous culture to it. So when you introduce a potential large revenue stream to a country that doesn't have any, I guess I don't know how to say it, doesn't know how to act within the realm of the business that we sort of understand how this shit sort of works. So it's like, yeah, it's going to attract some sort of, I don't know, I guess what I'm getting at is, you mean to tell me there was some fuckery in a cannabis business? Like,
shocking, huh?
Shocking, right? And particularly one of a upstart place when you're usually in the first year or two or three of a state, of a country, of a whatever. Be prepared for fireworks, fuckery. Somebody in there associated with it's going to be a con artist. Somebody else in there associated with it's just going to be a false investor that doesn't even have the money. He's representing someone else silently, or like shit gets crazy in the beginning stages of legalization everywhere.
Right.
But yeah, that's why I was just kind of getting at it. It's like shocker that there's predators within the cannabis scope of early Thailand or whatever. But beyond the deal that you kind of tried to do that fell apart, obviously, that you were kind of smart enough to catch wind of and get out of. But the deal that you were a part of, like, how did you view, like, I guess, the cannabis future of Thailand? Because I've heard, oh, it's blowing up, but then I've also heard the exact opposite. Like, stay the fuck clear. Do you think that they'll pave their way to a better place where they have higher quality cannabis, and I don't know, some of the more crazy fuckers will be out of the industry, and a few, you know, solid people that love the plant with the passion will emerge, because they don't have 30-year love affairs with the plant, 40-year love affairs with the plant. They have a year and a half saying, this is a cool plant and it makes me money.
Well, I mean, yes and no. So, believe it or not, even with the harsh penalties, just like, you know, we've had in Indiana and New York, motherfuckers didn't give a shit. They still grew. And there was definitely people that have been growing for generations there.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Same with China. One of the guys that I flew over in my connecting flight, like, he was another one that, like, you asking a lot of questions, bro. Like, because I was like, you grow in China? And he's like, bro, what kind of question is that? I'm like, well, because it's fucking a death penalty, you know? It's like, it's shocking that you guys would risk that. And he's like, yeah, same as anywhere else. I was like,
sort of like asking someone on a domestic flight here, like, hey, you murder people?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I murder people. It's like, you murder people? People are gonna look at you like, are you fucking crazy? You want me to admit to the death penalty of something right now? Like,
right.
No, I don't murder people.
As far as the fuckery, again, I don't think that it was cannabis related, because if these, you know, if this guy's had any cannabis sense or business sense, they would have just known their lane and stayed in it. Instead, like I said, the one that was supposed to be over Cultivation, and 86, the guy that was running the show, he had 3 months before I got out there.
You just caught some green eyes.
That he was running the show, right? The dispensary went into the fucking ground. The 5 greenhouses went down to 1 greenhouse being full, so he didn't understand perpetual. He didn't understand growing at very small scale. So, you know, the size contracts that we were trying to fill, this guy has no hope of ever being able to wrap his head around that. Most people that have grown at scale couldn't wrap their head around the numbers and the harvest schedule and the planning schedule that I was throwing at them for this. They were just like blown the fuck away. So I know there's no way. And then on the other side, Mr. fucking Psy, Mr. wannabe businessman, this motherfucker, like, you know, I tried to explain to him, he just didn't have the wherewithal to be negotiating corporate contracts for these investments. Because I saw where they kept making comments like, just be patient, brother. We get this investment and everybody can get their money and just go on with their lives. And I'm like, no, you fucking moron. Now we get the money. Now we have to start work. Now we have to start working on expanding the company to reach these goals. This is not income. This is capital for the company. And they didn't even understand that. But he kept the whole time trying to argue that brother, I was born for this. I was born to negotiate contracts. And then he comes back to me a few days later and he said, Bill, I found out something today. Only Thai can negotiate contracts in Thailand. I was like, well, you're Laotian. You're fucking Hmong. So you can't negotiate contracts in Thailand either. Poo-poo face. It's like,
I imagine, yeah, some of these, I don't know. Like I say, it sounds like it potentially turned into, it was probably a good thing off the jump, and then people got some green eyes.
Yeah.
And thought that they could, you know, which happens all the fucking time in big business.
Oh, yeah.
Particularly big business, you know what I mean, where shit gets cutthroat as fuck. And then before you know it, like, whole truths aren't being told necessarily left or right. But, yeah, I mean, it's, as a cannabis guy who's been around cannabis business ventures his entire life, he basically flew 30 hours for something that we could do down the street if you really want to, as far as, you know what I mean? Like, months of fuckery and shit like that, too.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, it was an experience to go out there and learn. And I don't know, I kind of give you the last word. We went a little long tonight. We could probably go for weeks on this one. But
we'd have to do multiple.
Yeah, and we might have you back to talk a little bit more about your Thailand craziness. But I don't know, I'll give you the last word. Like, what did you take away from, you know, flying halfway around the world? Because the way I understand it, you went from here to like LA to China, and then how'd you come back home? You went back through like the Middle East, and then did you go through like New York? So
Dallas.
So yeah, you circumvented the entire globe. You flew around planet Earth.
Yeah.
You know, coach to go work on
on
a cannabis adventure to go work on some Thailand shit. We're out there for over 60 days, and we were supposed to be there for 2 weeks. Yeah. And like I say, he kind of came back with a whole new perspective. But I guess, like I say, I'll give you the final word. What do you think?
You know, it was culture shock for sure. But I fell in love with Thailand, dude. If I was a younger man and all about that hustle, I would be there permanently. There was a lot of heartwarming things that were, that came out after this fuckery. Ming and Zach and his family, like they literally reached out to offer any way that they could to prevent us from leaving. They wanted us to stay. And Ming said, I would rather invest in you than watch you leave. And so that was touching. And Guy with Hardweed Moon, he made a comment one night, and I wanted to get this like in clips because he said that he wished that we were here a year ago, and the state of the cannabis market and industry wouldn't be the same because they needed people like us back then, and they need us still now.
Well, I mean, I can relate to that in a sense where you talk about people with, lifetimes of experience going to places that, again, I'm going to stress. I know that there was outlaw growers, but I stress like this was serious penalties. There were people they didn't have the same culture, so you just start it up and say go. Like the back story isn't there for a lot of people, so you don't. I don't know if you send in a couple of veterans, or a veteran that's like I've been through all of this, and again they're going to be skeptical of you as the outsider, but at the same time. I don't know. I think you said it well. Eventually, let's hope that we can one day return to Thailand and see like cannabis flourishing in the way that where it becomes a cannabis tourist destination and breeders and other people are setting up shops over there. And I don't know. In a weird way, I kind of thought that Thailand might be the next great adventure in life. But at the same time, when you sort of come back saying, hold your horses a little bit, like well, they got to establish infrastructure a little bit more before you kind of go set up everything. But who knows? Cannabis flourishes quickly sometimes, and things get built quickly and everything else. But yeah, we'll have to get an update, probably a part 2. I know there's a lot more to Thailand that we could probably go over, but yeah, I don't know. Like I say, I think we're gonna sign this fucker off this week.
For sure.
But yeah, I appreciate you coming on. I'm glad you're back here in the old States. What was the first thing that you wanted to go eat? Some like American trash. What was the first thing that you had to go get?
Steak.
Well, that's not really American trash. That's American that's USA prime beef right there. Like
there was plenty of American trash. There was Burger King. There was McDonald's.
So you didn't go without junk.
There just wasn't, prime.
What
beef.
did you miss the most as far I guess steak or like? Is your cigarettes real gross?
Oh my God, yes.
They're so gross.
I took a carton with me, and Robert helped me destroy those in like the first less than a week. And so I found out that all the tobacco over there is white labeled. Mm-hmm. It's the same company, the same producer, and they're just putting on Camel, Marlboro, or whatever, because the cigarettes all look the same, and they don't say it on the cigarette.
Yep.
And their packaging shows some. Like either black lung or deformed baby.
It's usually from China grown.
Yeah, their packaging is a deterrent for buying cigarettes in the first place because it's unhealthy.
Yeah. I already knew the answer. I just figured I had to ask you. I was like, how'd you enjoy a month of terrible cigarettes?
I didn't. And
well, you should stop now.
With the anxious shit, I was just fucking chain smoking. So
business deals going awry.
Yeah.
So he's just over there huffing a carton down over here.
Dude, it was stupid. So yeah, when you showed up at the airport with the American Spirits, that was rock star. With good weed, rock star.
I know how to pick a man up internationally from an airport.
Yeah.
You give him an American Pepsi. J-Lo was with me. It helped me pick up the American or the international fucking pickup. But yeah, this is how you pick someone up. You get them an ice cold Pepsi Cola from America because Pepsi suck overseas. You get them a pack of American cigarettes because that's what they're going to be craving the most. You hand them a pipe or a joint with fires weed you have. And 30 minutes later, they're back to normal.
Yeah. Literally, it was. It was a rude awakening going from like 96 to 15 degrees.
Yeah, and you came back to a blizzard.
Yeah, but actually the weed and everything made that not an issue.
We're going to get the fuck out of here, everybody. Same bat time, same bat channel. Next week, still have Bruce Banner seeds on the Sea Bazaar. Oh, one thing I wanted to say real quick. Everyone go see Dutch. Dutch sent He's got the sickest channel ever, and I'm not kidding you. Watch his last video, make a comment, tell him we're thinking about him, because dude, that dude's life is a living conspiracy. All of the internet providers that he's been trying to use have shut him down. He is like, if you think I'm full of shit, I'm not. Like, Dutch is sincere, legit. This is all over earthquakes. He pissed off somebody at Halliburton over earthquakes, and for the last 6 years, they've been like harassing him and turning off his internet service providers to the point where he can't upload anything anymore.
What?
This is a real life government conspiracy. Go watch Dutch Sense's channel, and yeah, you need to see this. Just type Dutch Sense Earthquake and go to his channel. Watch his last video that he uploaded. He explained to you why he's not making videos right now, and that he's designing his own software so that he can then make live streams without his IP being. Every VPN that he's used in the past has gotten shut down immediately after he started using them. So like, I'm telling you, my man Dutch Sense, like, he's angered people, and I don't know.
That's probably the correlation he did between HARP and all of this, earthquake
He
activity.
talks crazy shit, and you should go follow his channel. I'm telling you, it's not even crazy, honestly. He's the
No,
most
it's
logical,
on point.
smart guy that I know, and yeah, he's actually, everything about his channel is totally like, should be on the fucking Disney Channel. It's like, this is, get a bag ready in case the power goes out, in case there's an earthquake, readiness, preparedness. Dutch wants you to be safe. Dutch, like, is the dopest guy ever, and somehow he's angered people because he decided not to take a job at Halliburton, and now, or a sponsorship from like Halliburton in some back ass way, and now literally, like, the man can't get, even Elon's internet shut him off. Starlink.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Don't believe me? Go watch Dutch's channel. He tells you, and there's 600,000-700,000 people that are watching and waiting for Dutch to return. So shout out Dutch, we love you. 100K Grand Prix sign up ends December 15th, and yeah, we will see you guys same time, same bat channel, same bat everything next week. All right, peace everybody. Thanks,
See
BK.
ya.